So good day everyone. In this video, we'll be discussing the concept or the principle of the utilitarianism, the consequentialist, and the ethical framework. So first, let us define the utilitarianism. So what is utilitarianism according to the book? So it is quoted by John Stuart Mill, which stated that the creed which accept as the foundation of morals or utility or the greatest happiness principle holds that our actions are right in the proportion as they tend to promote happiness, and wrong if they tend to promote the reverse of happiness, which is the suffering and pain. By happiness is intended pleasure and the absence of pain, while by unhappiness, pain and the privation of pleasure. So, according to Stuart Mill, morality is based on the utility. So, the rightness or the wrongness of an action depends or it is determined by its usefulness in promoting happiness. So, we don't look for the intrinsic rightness or wrongness of one's action, but rather in this principle, we try to focus on the outcome of one's action if it promotes happiness or suffering. So what is utility in this context? So in the context of utilitarianism, utility refers to useful value of an action in promoting happiness. So like think of a tool that you're going to use to achieve an objective or achieve a goal. That is utility. Okay, so similarly, it is a useful action that help you achieve or maximize the thing so-called happiness and minimize the suffering or the pain. So that's it. That is utility according there is a utilitarianism theory, concept of utilitarianism. So this utilitarianism has two founding father. So we have we have two primary advocates of utilitarianism, and those are both British philosophers, namely Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. So Bentham is often considered as the founding father, described as a philosophy of the principle of utility, while on the other hand, Mill is for the greatest happiness principle. So before we proceed, these two principle, there are no significant difference. Wala gina siya kinalain. But the thing is, it is delivered or it is being advocated by two different philosophers. But it has the same concept, same perspective, and the same goal. So wala gini siya kinalain, but in different may difference lang sa pag-deliver sang lain-lain nga philosopher. So firstly, let's have the principle of utility. But first, we'll be showing you the picture of Bentham and Mill. So on the there are name indicated naman, so you're easily to distinguish it naman. So next is, let's have the principle of utility. So by the principle of utility is meant that principle which approves or disapproves every action whatsoever according to the tendency it appears to have to augment or diminish the happiness of the party whose interest in the question. So according naman sa principle of utility, which is advocated by philosopher Bentham, that moral philosophy, this suggests that rightness or wrongness of an action should be judged based on its consequences. In simpler terms, the principle state that we should choose the action that promotes happiness and minimize suffering. So as I said earlier, that this concept or this principle, their goal here is to encourage us to or to make us an action that will promote the sense of happiness and lessen the suffering. So, if we're going to make an action, in the principle of utility, dili na to basihan ang intrinsic wrongness ng action or ang rightness ng action. But, where we're going to look for the possible or sa outcome or sa outcome sa amo ng action, which is ang goal sa amo ng principle is we maximize the thing so-called happiness and lessen the pain. So, for example, is we have a friend and that friend we discovered something nga pwede depress siya or maging unhappy siya. So, our choice is to keep it na lang. So, itago ta ang amo tong ko kay we believe that it will help the situation niya, hindi siya mag-suffer or hindi siya mag-sad. So, in which sa iya state right now, if happy to nga friend, tapos wala mo ginsugid ang amo to nga bad thing, the thing is that she will continue to be happy in the meantime. So that will lessen the pain. So this principle is consequentialist. So when we say again consequentialist is that we are focusing on an action, creating an action or trying to achieve one's goal by not focusing on the rightness, the nature of its wrongness or rightness, but to see for its outcome. And then there are two applications, the societal and individual here in the utility principle. So for example, during the days of COVID-19 pandemic, the government implemented a mandatory vaccination. So this in order to prevent the further spread of the virus and to lessen the spread of the contagious disease, to lessen the rate or the possible rate of the damage. So in that, in the application of the principle of utility, we're going to think for the cost and the benefits. So in this principle of utility, there will be a weighing system rather. So during that time, sang pag-implement sang COVID vaccination, mandatory COVID vaccination, the outcome or the benefits of that implementation is that it saves countless lives of people, and it prevents the further spread of the virus. So let's think for the cost. Some of the people there may have experienced side effect of the vaccine, and there might be a concern about their individual rights. So like not totally tanan during that vaccination has their good side effect. Some believe that they have bad side effect of the vaccine, but the thing is, here in the principle of utility, if we apply it into that situation, is that we weigh the benefits and the cost. Since mas damo ang nabuligan sang vaccine, tas lesson lang man, tas if thinking practically, ang vaccine is ang purpose adto is to help the people in the community, since mas na-outweigh ang ginatawag na benefits kaysa sa cost. Gina-commend na siya or gina-suportahan na siya sa principle of utility, which is ang amo tong action ga maximize siya sa ginatawag na happiness and gina-minimize niya ang ginatawag na suffering. So that is the example of societal application of principle of utility. So next we have the individual application. For example, you got the low grades in your subject and your choice is to gaslight yourself kay believing nga okay lang man na yun ang makabawi mo man dason may midterm pa. may finance pa, mabawi ko na dason. So, by gaslighting is if you believe that gaslighting yourself will help you ease, or it will make you happy for the meantime, then it's a principle of utility. Sige, continue mo lang gaslight yourself rather than nga ikadlugmok mo na or ika-depress mo na nga amo na nga nubuin mo grades kag ano pa. Since here in the principle of utility, we maximizes happiness and minimizes the pain. And next we have the greatest happiness principle. So according to this theory, which is the same from the previous theory, action are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness, and wrong as they promote the reverse of happiness. Okay. So yeah, as I've said earlier, these two principles are just have the same concept and same perspective and the same goal, to promote and to maximize the essence of happiness and lessen the possibility of suffering or pain. So according to Mill, the greatest happiness principle is a core of tenet utilitarianism. Tenets of utilitarianism. So the key tenets of utilitarianism will be discussed later naman. A moral philosophy that suggests that the rightness or wrongness once again of an action should be judged based on the consequences. So both principles convey the core idea of utilitarianism, that the rightness or the wrongness of one's action is neglected, but rather to focus on the outcome of that action, as long as that action promotes happiness and lessen the suffering. Thank you.